Welcome, and thank you for tuning in. If you enjoy this video, we invite those of you who haven't yet done so, to like, comment, share, subscribe, and click the notification icon, to be notified when the next one is uploaded. This is the second installment in our series on how the media have colluded to place America on the edge of fascism, by presenting the electorate with the surreal choice between a Democrat and a fascist. In today's offering, we will be looking at how CNN, the worst of the lot, fake their news coverage to favor Donald Trump over Kamala Harris. CNN like to pretend that they are a neutral news agency that report the news unbiased and accurately, unlike Fox News for example, who are firmly in the Trump camp. But the truth of the matter is that CNN are worse than Fox, because they pretend to be neutral, when in fact they are pro-Trump. CNN have been actively supporting Donald Trump, and even more so, after they were bought by John Malone. They were the first to grant Donald Trump a town hall, back during the Republican presidential primaries in May 2023. But they did not provide this opportunity to any of the other Republican presidential primaries candidates. Despite the fact that the town hall was the result of a dramatic tilt to the right, following their purchase by longtime Trump supporter John Malone, we are not aware that any of the CNN staff resigned or left in protest when it was arranged and announced. Compare this to the case of the Los Angeles Times editor who resigned because the owner blocked the editorial board's plan to endorse Kamala Harris for president. She wrote that, "I am resigning because I want to make it clear that I am not okay with us being silent. In dangerous times, honest people need to stand up. This is how I'm standing up." Merrill makes it clear that being silent in the face of what is happening is bad enough, but CNN go even further to actively engage in spreading disinformation, as they did so blatantly with the Trump town hall. Just a few days after Gaza, Robert Kagan and Danielle Allen resigned from the Washington Post on similar grounds, as reported without any hint of irony by Brian Stelter on CNN. And nearly one-third of the Washington Post editorial board also resigned in protest. Compare these reactions to what happened at CNN both before and after the town hall, where Trump was allowed to spread so many falsehoods, with little or no pushback from Caitlin Collins. The audience was deliberately packed with his supporters, so there was no chance of them reacting negatively to all the awful things he was doing. Here are some clips.
It was an interesting night. Mr. Trump's first lie was told just seconds into the night with his false familiar claim that the 2020 election was, quote, a rigged election. And the falsehoods kept coming fast and furious about the January 6th insurrection, about the threat to Vice President Pence, about Pence's ability to overturn the election, about COVID, about the economy, and more. He called a black law enforcement officer a thug. He said people here in Washington, D.C. at Chinatown don't speak English. He attacked Caitlin as a nasty woman because she was trying to get him to answer a question. Perhaps most chillingly, the day after a 9-person jury of his peers in New York found him liable for sexual battery and defamation and ordered him to pay writer E. Jean Carroll $5 million, he made fun of her account of her sexual assault. And many in the audience laughed.
The public backlash to the town hall was so ferocious that Chris Licht, the person that John Malone had put there specifically to do the job, carried the can, but still none of the staff who were there before the takeover resigned or left. How does the reaction from those at the LA Times and Washington Post sit with the lame and muted protests registered by those at CNN, who remained there, nevertheless? To show how self-serving and self-absorbed the CNN people are, they did clips criticizing Trump spreading lies at the town hall that they gave him, without acknowledging their complicity. Another of many egregious examples of CNN carrying water for Trump while pretending otherwise, is the panel of supposedly undecided voters from Pennsylvania that they assembled in August this year to assess their reaction to Kamala Harris's DNC speech. Do note that this was done some 15 months after the Trump town hall debacle. Here, see for yourself.
Come to you from Allentown in the heart of the beautiful Lehigh Valley in eastern Pennsylvania, and we are with 8 residents of the Lehigh Valley who've been watching television with us tonight and watching Kamala Harris's speech. I do want to say they all have something in common, as you said, Anderson. None of these people before tonight have made a decision about who they will vote for in November. And at least one person here before tonight wasn't sure she was going to vote at all because she doesn't like either of the candidates. Also, what they have in common, 5 of these people, they are all, 5 of them, loyal union members from the UAW local, United Auto Workers, here in the Lehigh Valley. So thank you all for being here.
As you will see from the following clip from the Midas Touch network, CNN faked the panel to provide ammunition for Trump and his supporters.
A Midas Touch exclusive, our editorial team has exposed that one of the so-called undecided voters on the CNN panel that weighed in after Vice President Kamala Harris's historic DNC speech, well, let's just say he was not so undecided and has a history of posting pro-Trump stuff over and over again, including posting Donald Trump's mugshot, including making posts to Elon Musk saying that Donald Trump should be reinstated on Twitter, including making posts that were critical of former Vice President Pence certifying the results of the 2020 election. Doesn't quite seem like an undecided voter. So I want to show you our expose that's just going absolutely viral right now. And then I want to show you how we uncovered who this so-called undecided voter really is. Let's take a look at Midas Touch, our website. Let's take a look right here. Bring Back Trump, CNN's undecided voter panelist, has pro-Trump social media history. Meet Brian Rosado, who was disappointed that Mike Pence didn't overturn the election for Donald Trump, and CNN tried to act like this was an undecided voter. And just think about it like this. Remember, CNN had 8 individuals on that panel, and they all gave Vice President Kamala Harris somewhere between an A or a B in terms of the marks they gave, except this guy who gave her a C. And then all the other undecided voters raised their hands and said that they were going to now be voting for Vice President Kamala Harris. Other than this guy who said that based on Vice President Kamala Harris's speech, he's now going to be voting for Donald Trump because he thinks that she isn't ready. That was then immediately used by right-wing social media accounts, by Trump accounts, and then pushed out. So you have to wonder, did CNN either not vet this guy or was CNN complicit? Let's go through.
So, you can see clearly how CNN faking their coverage works in Trump's favor. This would be the same CNN that, without any sense of irony, openly mocked and criticized Fox for packing his town hall with his supporters. There are so many examples of CNN carrying water for Trump that it would be easier to challenge anyone to provide us with a link to a CNN clip that does not do this. The rubbish about setting Trump's character and rhetoric aside to debate his policies is a calculated attempt by CNN to whitewash his character and rhetoric, because if they were keeping to the journalistic standard that Jake Tapper espoused back in 2021, then they should have been loyal to the facts and the public above all else. But instead, they opted to mask the danger that this self-declared apprentice fascist and renowned serial liar, for whom electoral victory is an endgame, poses to democracy, by grading his outrageous and undeliverable policies on a curve. CNN must know that mass deportations and wholesale tariffs across the board are undeliverable and harmful to the economy. Indeed, the editor-in-chief at Bloomberg pointed out how ridiculous one of the pillars of his so-called policies was.
Consumers, people out there,
they're going to be the biggest beneficiaries.
Yeah, critics say your tariffs will end up being like a national sales tax.
No,
because
the countries will pay.
If you have, America at the moment has $3 trillion worth of imports. You're going to add tariffs to every single one of them. That is going to push up the cost for all those people who want to buy foreign goods.
No. What's going to happen?
That is just simple mathematics, President Trump.
It's not. Yeah, it is, but not the way you figured. I was always very good at mathematics. Yes. Let me tell you, you're saying $3 trillion. Those companies,
$3 trillion worth of imports.
And they don't have to pay. And if, by the higher the tariff, the more likely it is to have them come into the country.
The higher the tariff, the more you're going to put on the value of that piece, those goods, the higher people are going to have to pay in shops.
Yet, CNN continues to represent that the economy is one of the strong points of this serial lying maniac. The unhinged perception that Trump is strong on the economy is testament to the failure of the media to properly inform the public about just how unhinged his policies are. CNN are being disloyal to the facts and the public by adopting the tactic of presenting Trump's false propaganda as if they are unable to tell that it is false. Leaving their audience to reach their own conclusions about what is true and what is false is being disloyal to the facts and the public. When they then turn around to hold Harris's rhetoric and policies to a higher standard of scrutiny, like they do, they are giving Trump an unfair advantage, given that peddling lies and untruths is his forte.